So today I'm going to have a conversation with Annette Ladd. She is a wonderful counselor and a good friend of mine. And maybe one of the things I love most about Annette is just her practical, down-to-earth help with whatever you're dealing with in life. And I think going through all that we're going through right now, there are few people I'd rather spend some time talking with and just getting some advice from than Annette. So I hope that you enjoy this. Okay, my friend.
Hello.
It is good to see you again.
Good to see you.
And I am very, very excited about chatting with you. And the thing that, of course, I want to chat with you about is I noticed on the calendar we are at like week 7 in all this stuff we're going through.
Wow.
Yeah. And as a pastor, the thing I find myself being really concerned about is week 1, week 2, people, it's acute, it's an emergency, and you can like push forward, but
I've heard people say, I can do anything for 2 weeks when we thought it was going to be just that initial 15 days. But now,
week 7,
yes,
it's like we're worn out.
Mm-hmm.
It's fatigue. And so what we need is some help in some ways to keep navigating this in a sustainable way, where we're not doing heroics every day to keep focused.
Right.
And just so what's one thing that you think would be super important for all of us in finding that sustainability as we continue navigating?
I love that question because there is something I actually feel pretty passionate about and I believe is helpful in a variety of ways and times in life, and especially right now. And that is creating a way to very intentionally practice gratitude and thankfulness. And I know that can sound sort of like the same thing as just being positive or sounding like, and that's just talking about something that's just sort of surfacey. How's that going to help? But here's the reality. It is so important for us to do this because not only does it affect our hearts and our souls, it affects our brain, the actual function of our brain. You can start your morning by just taking, it can be a scrap piece of paper, it can be a journal, it can be a book that helps you think about things that you're grateful for. It's super simple that you just write down. I feel grateful today for yesterday. I was grateful that I spent time with so-and-so, or I'm grateful for my animals with me this morning. I'm grateful for the sunrise, the beauty.
It really is things. Like a short
sentence. Yes. Or yes, I'm grateful, I'm thankful. And it's important that you write it down, and or another thing you can do is speak into your phone and have an audible journal that you record and just say out loud if you're on your walk or something, and just say, I'm really grateful for, but you have to do it intentionally. It can't just be something that you're randomly doing, that you're making a focused effort to think about, what am I grateful for?
So what does it do to our brains when we do these things?
So doing that, and in fact, the act of even just thinking about what we're grateful for accomplishes this, in addition to actually identifying those things. And it literally creates new neural pathways, which are kind of like little grooves in our brain, so to speak, or little ditches in our brain. And what happens is the more that I do something, the deeper that groove gets, and wider. And so that means that the next day, the day after, it's easier to access that. A year later, it's easier to access that particular neural pathway because I've really dug in there and
by
practiced.
A groove, what you mean is like a particular feeling or thought or what is that? So by groove, you mean like you're digging, like by the way, we now know we have grooves in our brain.
So literally you're creating in your brain, we've seen the science on neural pathways, mm-hmm. and our ability to grow new brain cells and all of that. And so that's huge news because that means we can affect our brain. So we are, in essence, teaching our brain everything versus our brain teaching us. We teach it, and so we get to decide what the health of our brain will be.
What you're saying is I'm creating a deeper, wider groove or neural pathway. So
and it happens quickly, and you want to sustain it so it doesn't get covered up by something else or just go away because you end up so. And much like we would if we vent about something, and say we vent to a few friends, or we vent about it again the next day, that actually creates a groove also. That has
Of
the
a very
ability,
different kind.
very different kind. And so then every time that same thing or something similar happens, you're back to being very mad about that, because you have created that groove that you can now fall into much easier, because you sort of taught your brain, when this happens, respond this way.
Before I even get to that stressful moment in the kitchen where the
You're-
kids
yes,
are asking
before
for
you even
things
get
and I'm
there.
frustrated with my
Mhm.
spouse, and I'm
Right.
that earlier I was cutting that groove in my
Yeah,
brain.
that's a good way. Yes.
That to see things in a more grateful way, to see
And not that you're going to be grateful in that moment for that stress. No. You're still going to be
Okay.
frustrated. And that's okay. You're supposed to be. In fact, it'd be kind of weird if you weren't. But what you're going to do with that moment, how you're going to navigate that moment, you now have something to draw on.
So
you
instead of
feel
just
better.
getting buried by that moment,
Yes.
it's like I actually kind of have the strength and the mindset to
Yes.
navigate it out of the best of who God made me to
Yes.
be, not the least of
So
who I
that
am.
now I don't have to feel bad about how I navigated that later.
Okay.
So I just, and again, that's just an example. It's not that black and white, but the idea being that whenever we practice gratefulness in our lives over a period of time, and by the way, if I didn't say this already, it doesn't take forever to change your brain. We're not talking about months or weeks, we're talking about days. But you want to keep practicing it so you can keep that
Wow.
going.
I'm grateful that it only takes days.
Yes,
instead of,
me
instead of
too.
weeks.
And that's somewhat new information. We used to believe that to get something going, it took 21 days to, create a new habit.
Right.
We don't think that anymore. We know that our brains are amazing, and the way God created us allows us to make some changes at a biological level that makes us
Faster than we thought we could.
much faster.
Okay.
And even just knowing that helps people. They don't
Okay.
give up as easily.
Okay.